What is up, my OMI homies? Welcome, everyone, to episode 11 of OMI is my homie. It surprised me every week how much we have to talk about. It's great. There's always so much to talk about. Let me kind of give you guys a summary, right, of the topics we're going to cover. We're going to talk about VeVe Comics. Crypto Rain's got some things that he's pretty pumped about. We're going to be chatting about that. We're going to be talking about crypto investment cycles. I think that that's important. And one of the reasons that we started this show together was to try to help educate people, right? We're going to tell people about our experiences, successes, and look, sometimes failures, and be blunt about that. But trying to educate people on this crypto market and what's happening right now. We're going to be talking about Marvel versus Capcom and some of those teases that David Yu's been doing. Level 100, right, with the Master Collectors program and what's going on with that. And more people are entering that. ElmonX and the Fortnite collab. Could something be possible with VeVe? We can talk about that. The modern investor's take on VeVe and OMI. He's been doing some VeVe and OMI videos recently, and recent drops that have been selling out. And look, all your community questions, or at least as many as we can cover, all of that and more. And without further ado, let me bring on my fantastic, incredible, and super fun co-hosts, Crypto Rain and the Real Randy Chavez. Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
Hi.
Fantastic.
Doing well. I ate some. This is gonna just is not VeVe or OMI related, but I got some spaghetti and meatballs from the King Cullen, and I thought I was getting 4 meatballs, but what they did is they cut 2 meatballs in half, and they made it look like it was 4, and I just felt like I got hoodwinked, and I was a little salty, but it was good, so I was like, okay, fine, Anyway, that's been my day. That's it.
Man, I hate getting hoodwinked on food. Like where you think you're getting something and you're just like, wait, man, and you're just like,
this King Cullen does this like all the time. Like they posted like an ad or whatever, saying like this was like last year when like everyone was like anti Bud Light, and it came down to, if you got like the 24 or 26 pack, whatever, it came down to like 50 cents a can, like for Bud Light. Like, this is great. But they didn't tell you that was only if you came back with the cans for like the rebate. I was like, I don't want to do that. So I just like, this has happened multiple times before, and I keep going back. It's right out of the gym. So
that's funny. Well, hey, I want to give a shout out to the people who are here right now, right? In the chat. I don't know why it's saying finger red number one. Obviously, it's like a number one, but it's not showing me the emoji. What's up, Croner? What's up, Bill Gardner? First like. Oh, wait a second. But Mr. Planet says first. Yeah. So who was first and who was first like? Very important.
I think Mr. Planet Profit was first.
Bill trying to still sneak it in there, though, huh? I like it.
I was the first like on mine because I always do that. I go to copy the link and then I'll give myself a like and then.
So you're cheating people out of the first like. Come on, Randy.
Okay, yeah, all right. Maybe I'll save that to when I, when we're on, then I'll like it.
I like it. Look, we got Cool Mo, we got Eccles here. What up? Hey, I met Eccles, and correct me, that's how you say it, right? Eccles, I believe that's Eccles. But I met Eccles in real life, and it was awesome, man. And it was funny because it was out like in the DC area, and I just tweeted it out. I'm like, hey, any of the VeVe fam, want to meet up and stuff, and we were all kind of like, we don't know you. Like, am I gonna get like, robbed? By, like, I don't know. It's so funny. And then we're like, okay, like it was super cool. It was a lot of fun. So, Matt Hoonge, I don't know how to say that, bro. Again, Bill Gardner. Hey, Sanjay, Mr. MC1, and Randy's business partner. What up?
Yeah.
Love that. We got Scott Colantino. Like, it has been a bit, man. Welcome back. It's good to see you. An OG supporter. Sketch Lab's been commenting a lot and really getting to know him a little bit more in the Ecomi Secret Rare channel, right? And I don't know if you can see this in the background, but I got a little Ecomi light, it's too
nice. I can see it.
But we got the Ecomi light up there. Shout out to Sanjay actually for hooking me up with that when I bought my hats. Man, I'm loving this. Yeah, let's see. Oh, Bill Gardner's calling me out. It's messed up, Randy.
I'll leave the next likes for y'all.
Yeah. Curly O, man. Look, I know a lot of people, a lot of like people that I met and had good conversations with and gotten to know really well that have lost Bit for X, their OMI and Bit for X. I'm sorry. I hope that gets resolved and you guys get it back. Rain lost tens of millions of OMI as well. Man, brutal. Yeah, we did have some dang good pizza, Cryptos, we can talk about that a little bit later. Just again, we're just going to kind of go through here a little bit. Interesting,
Mass murders.
interesting name.
He's the OG. He's been commenting since 2021. He's a cool dude.
Nice.
Awesome. Oh man, yeah. Okay, let's see. What up, Narujan? See, look at some of these people. I'm seeing these names for the first time. What's up, Geodorox? And okay. Anyways, we've gotten through some of that. So let's jump, gentlemen, to the first topic here of VeVe Comics. And Rain, I'm going to let you take the steering wheel on this. Go for it.
Well, awesome. So I'm not as deep into VeVe and OMI. Like, it's not 100% of my portfolio. It's a portion of my portfolio, but it's one of the ones I'm very most passionate about from a number of things. Number one, I was an early investor in a company all the way back to 2018. And what I loved was this idea of digital collectibles. And it's fun that it coming to fruition has turned out so good. And I know some people are like frustrated. That happens like every bear market. Oh, the team's not doing enough. And if the team had done this, the token would be way up. There might be a tiny bit of validity to that. We're still in a bear market. So there's not very much. There's 99 out of 100 crypto projects. Their price is totally struggling right now. Why? It's just the timing in the market. Is VeVe doing an incredible job? Well, I've been in since back then. They've actually surpassed what my expectations were with some of the top intellectual property in the world. And when they did this digital comics thing, I was like, frick, this has the potential to be huge, like gigantic. I was like, there are people that are such avid comic fans. And this idea of getting an exclusive with one of the top comic providers in the world to bring them onto the blockchain and to have digital versions of it, I can't even fathom how big this can go. Now, will it go that big? I think so. Are we guaranteed they'll go that big? No, it's always a risk when you're investing early. You never know exactly what down the road looks like. That's why it's called investing and not foreseeing the future, because you can't foresee the future. When I heard that, I was like, man, that is amazing. And when like some of these early ones came out, like Marvel #1, initially a bunch of people dumped their commons for $2 or $3, and I was scooping them up like crazy. And later, those ones specifically went to like 700, 750 gems, massively up. And I was able to take some profits. Well, most of them have come back down and cheap again. And most people are like, oh, you're just kind of taking them for granted. That happens in the bear market. Why? Well, because it seems like it's always going to be there. It's not. Now, do we know that digital comics is going to be one of the biggest things in the world for collectors? No. But I'd say there's a pretty dang good chance. Why? You have an instantaneous marketplace anywhere in the world. You don't have to ship it off to be graded. There's no counterfeits of graded comics. You can read it without getting it damaged. I like the marketplace that's instantaneous anywhere in the world, that you can put it on the marketplace and somebody in Japan can buy it 2 seconds later from you for the price that you're asking, if you're asking a fair price. So if this idea of digital comics takes off, the number of digital comic collectors in the future might be 100, might be 500 times what it is now. And some of these comics will then go through the roof. Now, I wish I had a deep comic background to know exactly which ones were going to do the best. I don't know. I rely on people like Sleep in Comics and Comics in Crypto, and I watch their episodes because they know comics. I don't. I'm just an investor that loves collectibles, but I don't know crap about comics compared to those guys. So I just leverage off of them, and I try to guess which ones will have the most demand in the future. Secondly, we just learned something really big, or my understanding is that VeVe Comics is appearing in the library section of Marvel's Unlimited app. Do you realize how big that is? Like, Marvel from their end is going to start pushing these comics. That's so big. Fair to say that most comic collectors aren't yet really collecting digital versions yet. There's some people that came into the VeVe app that now started collecting regular comics, but the reverse is not true yet. They really haven't figured it out, and they really don't till all of the crypto market goes crazy. And then they start looking for things and they hear, oh my gosh, there's digital versions of these comics. And that's what then caused some people to move in. They buy up everything that's cheap. The price goes way up, and then it triggers everyone's FOMO, and then the price really goes up. That's just how it plays out. That's how it played out in 2021. That's how crypto played out in 2017. And that's what we're heading for again. So don't, take for granted these, like, people thought I was crazy when I was buying those Marvel #1s for like 2 and 3 gems. And they've corrected down. I'm only up 12x on some of the ones I still have. Darn it.
It's not good enough.
There was a point in time that on some of them I was up 350x. Why? Because I was scooping up as many of them as I could. I kept sweeping the floor. So don't, and some of these comics that have come out since then, they're massively undervalued. Now, which ones will do the best? I don't know. I wish I could download Sleep in Comics Brain and Comics in Crypto's Brain and just understand everything that they know. Unfortunately, I can't do that. So I watch some of their YouTube videos and try to figure out as best I can which comics might do the very best.
I like that. What do you think, Randy? What do you think of this that integration, right? Marvel in their comics app, right? Like integrating VeVe Comics in the library.
I spoke to 2 whales on Sunday, and they are they're ones that they have a decent amount of OMI. I feel like 2 years ago, 100 million OMI was quite large, and now it's still okay. So they have a decent amount of OMI, and they're in so many other things, and not so much just investments, just life. This is just like, hey, if it works out, great, then I can maybe not work as hard or just take it a little easier. And they pay attention not to everything, but one thing that they both mentioned separately that caught their eye was the announcement that happened over in South by Southwest a few months ago, and they're like, this is the biggest thing like ever. So it works on it works on many levels. You have the people that watch every single thing that they do. They track all the wallets, they track all of the tweets, and they're on the Discord, and they're doing everything there. And then for the bigger investors, for the bigger people that are out doing other stuff, when you have that Venn diagram of the people that watch every day and they single out this piece as being important, and then the people that come back every month or 2 just to check out what's going on, and they signal this is important, and that meets. I feel like that Venn diagram in the middle of that, this is really checking all the boxes for big announcements that people really care about, especially for the longevity of the company. The one thing I'm kind of not salty about, we don't know how much they're making from this, and obviously it's new comics every single Wednesday. Now, unlike the Marvel Unlimited app where you had to wait 90 days in order to read the new comics, now if you're on VeVe, the VeVe Comics, you can go in and read the new comics sooner, like hours before everyone else, because comic book stores don't open until 9, 10 o'clock. But Marvel Unlimited, they have about 5 million downloads. Out of that 5 million downloads, I'm going to say there's 65,000 ratings of the app. So that's people that care enough about the app to rate it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say most of that is good because it's 4.6 out of 5 stars. The cross-pollination is likely, for right now, going to benefit VeVe, because you have a bunch of, this is what they do. Hey, where's the new comics going to go? Where can we read these? And it's just a much better deal. Outside of that, I feel like you have the opportunity for Marvel Unlimited fans just to bridge, the one that, like Rain was saying. I don't know if I'm sure they had to design it with this intention, right? It's not just a happy accident. So clearly a lot of thought going into this. They announced it in April? So they've probably been doing this for years. I don't know what other things they're planning. I feel like there's not too much closer that they could get, except when, David teases a couple of things, but one that kind of goes in with this is the Marvel vs. Capcom, and Hypebeast posted about it originally, and Hypebeast has almost 11 million followers on Instagram, and then David reposted that. So how much closer could they get? I don't know, but very exciting for me. If I had any more money, I'd put a lot more into OMI. But that's just me. That's not, not the
What, you're bullish on Omi? I'm so shocked.
This is news. This is news to me. Look, I think it's fantastic. And one of the things that I really like about it for VeVe is it's another revenue stream, right? And it's another revenue stream that's not tied to gems, right? Because we still know that if people buy on the app with Apple, they're paying that 30% fee. But now they go on that website and they can purchase that. And so whatever they're getting, it's free and clear money, you know? And so even if it is a smaller percentage, as that grows, like Marvel is incentivized to start advertising this and to start pushing that, right? And so even if it is a smaller cut, they're hosting the website, and then they have the NFTs, and then as they're traded, VeVe's going to be making some money off that, you know. So yeah, it would be great to know what the revenue streams are from that, but it is another source of revenue, and I'm stoked on that, you know. And shout out to Sleeping Comics. One of these days on one of these streams, mark my words, Sleeping Comics is going to shout out someone besides Randy. It might be Rain. It might be me. It might be me and Randy and Rain at the same time. But for the time being, it's still Randy. And we heart you sleeping. And we were just talking about you. Maybe your ears were burning, you know, as Rain was talking about just the knowledge that you provide on these comics. And thank you for that, right? We did a whole space. Sanjay, you know, and David, you came on, and there's quite a few of us, Dr. Rolex, that we were up there. Tony, Get the Omi, you know, like we were up there just trying to shout out as many content creators as we could. And like I had to go after 2 hours. I had to go, and there were so many that we still didn't even get to that just do so much for this community. And you're definitely one of them, man. You're a treasure. We appreciate you. But the Miles comics on VeVe Comics are limited and have new first appearances. Well, we will make sure not to tell anyone that's the case. It happened on this stream. It already just happened. Let's go. Yeah, shout out. What up, Big A? We've seen some other people here. Bean Tech. I met Bean Tech in real life. Look, I cannot wait for San Diego Comic-Con. Rain, have you got your passes yet? I tried to do check the tracking on the San Diego Comic-Con. Rain and I have press passes to San Diego Comic-Con. So we're going to be covering, you know, a lot of the VeVe stuff. And I'm going to try to stop by Todd McFarlane's booth, you know, if ElmonX is there, like whoever's there, right? And I'm really excited to do that and to get a lot of coverage there. But I checked my tracking number, and it doesn't even look like it's shipped yet. And I'm seeing people posting pictures of theirs. Like, what's going on? But anyway, SoCal Omi Homie, appreciate you, fam. Hey, Wes shouted out me and Rain, appreciate that. So
what's up, Wes?
I like Wes. You know, Wes is a highly controversial character in the VeVe fam. I love it, man. I really enjoy Wes. And look, I really do think that he tries to keep it real. Sometimes he gets really frustrated, and other times he's really bullish. But I appreciate him, man. I appreciate the passion there. Yeah, first team all VeVe. We got to have some sort of sports team, right? It's like your first team, your second tier, second string. I like that. Sleeping. It looks like someone's already asking about these Miles comics. But okay, hey, well, the next thing that we wanted to jump into a little bit, and Randy wanted to talk a little bit about this, but what is Microstrategies doing, Randy? And then we're going to jump into with that kind of crypto investment cycles and what's happening in the overall crypto market. I think it's super important to talk about this stuff.
Sure. So you had Michael Saylor for ever, and he's been doing this for a few years now, where he compares Bitcoin to property, whether it's in like the Hamptons or property like right on, you know, Boardwalk or anything that typically only goes up in value. And so, well, what do those people do? Do they ever sell? No. I mean, maybe some do. It said most people, as the value of the property goes up, they take out loans against it, and then they use those loans to do whatever they need. It sits on their account as a debt, and then they buy investments, they do whatever, they upgrade the house. And he says that's what people will do with Bitcoin, and that's what he's been doing for like the past couple of years. I think he started buying Bitcoin at like 30, maybe like even 40 or 50K. Then he started dollar cost averaging as it went down to 30, 20, 14. And people were calling him crazy. Like, you're over leveraged, you're going to lose everything. And he's like, no, I'm not. And now I think his average of Bitcoin, I think he got it at like 30,000, and now it's at 60,000. So now he's looking like a genius. And now that it's safe to do so, or seems safe to do so, other people are starting to do that as well. The other day, I forget what exchange it was on, but you had somebody buy $1.2 billion worth of Bitcoin, like all at once, which was bananas. And as other companies and countries start to do that, you're going to get that on. I mean, you already have El Salvador and I think one or two other countries. Now, these are countries where the GDP on them is quite low, but they have basically dual currencies. They have their own currency and they have Bitcoin as legal tender as well. You might have, there's rumors going on that Trump might do that as a print to buy Bitcoin. They might do some quantitative easing, might do some whatever type of printing from the Federal Reserve, and maybe a small percentage of that goes into Bitcoin. I think that'd be really cool too. As soon as countries start doing that with larger GDPs, then that's going to make a difference. Averaging the last 2 cycles together, or the last 3 cycles together, Bitcoin, if it goes to that average, would be like 450, 500,000. And I'm not saying that happens, but just if you take the average of the last few cycles, that's what it could do. And then what happens to altcoins? What do people do when they have money to spend? They go crazy. Even if it was, it doesn't matter, I'm already up. And then it's like, I can just throw in X amount here. And that's what will likely happen.
I mean, what do you think about MicroStrategy, what they're doing? And then let's dovetail that into kind of crypto cycles and what's going on in the markets.
There's very few innovators out there. It takes risk and skill. And the truth is people called Michael Saylor absolutely crazy for what he was doing. And now that his strategy is being proved to work, then you're going to see tons of people copying. Like, I don't often innovate. I copy fantastic ideas all the time. Why? Well, blazing a new trail that nobody's done is much harder than finding somebody that just blazed the most amazing trail ever and copying it. Well, he blazed in a way where he took an existing business that had incoming revenues, borrowed against those revenues to free up some cash to then buy an asset, Bitcoin, which he felt would be a massively appreciating asset. Well, he showed that strategy really can work with Bitcoin. And he did go through some hard times when Bitcoin pulled back tremendously, but he was able to make it through. And now his dollar cost average, because he was buying more when it was really, really cheap. And keep in mind, most people do not buy more when it's really, really cheap. They sell and they run away. He did the opposite, which is what savage crypto investors do, which is buy when things get even cheaper. And now he's way up. And the real bull run hasn't even hit yet. And he's up to the tune of billions. He's going to become one of the richest persons in the world. And his company is going to become one of the highest valued companies in the world. And then so many people are going to be jumping on that bandwagon. Unfortunately, the line to buy when everything is expensive gets really, really big. I mean, look how many people are trying to FOMO into meme coins. The meme coin run has been running for a while. It is very dangerous to be jumping into meme coins now. And yet that's where everyone in the crypto space wants to go. Just look around in the crypto space. If you see over 50% of people in the crypto space doing the same thing you're doing, you should be freaking worried. Now, what am I buying? A Comey. I look around, are over 50% of the people in the crypto space doing what I'm doing? No, it's like 2%. Okay, good. Whew. That reassures me a ton, because if 50% were doing what I was doing, I'd be scared that the price is heading towards the other side of the swing that happens, and I would be looking to sell. So now, am I just buying OMI because the price is cheap? No, I'm buying OMI because the price is cheap and the underlying company behind it, I'm really happy with what they're doing. I know there's other people that disagree with me and they have 7 million complaints about what they could have done better. If you're expecting perfection, leave the human race. Like, I'm sorry, but companies are run by people and there is no perfection in humanity. But they're doing a really freaking amazing job, especially having watched this since 2018. And they have Marvel, Disney, they have some DC, they have Marvel Comics, they have other like Lamborghini and other really cool IP. Like, if you had told me that in 2018, I would have been like, oh my gosh, no way. I don't even believe it would happen. And yet it's happened and people are still finding reason to complain. I don't know. What they're really upset about is they're scared that the price has gone down so much and they fear that it's going to continue going down because they don't yet understand investment cycles. There's so much to be excited about what's going on with VeVe and OMI and the market being down. Michael Saylor gets it with Bitcoin, though he really only gets it with Bitcoin. He doesn't really even understand altcoins at all. That's cool. Bitcoin is his thing. But he does understand buying cheap. and he does understand buying something that has great value while it's cheap. And I guess I don't wish that everyone understood that, because if everyone understood it, there wouldn't be so much profit for those of us who do get that and then act on it.
And just so people know, he didn't just buy like another 100 or 1,000 Bitcoin. He bought 11,931 Bitcoin. Like not $11,000 worth, 11,931 Bitcoin. Like just in one purchase. That is oh my God, that's insane. It's bananas.
Yeah. It's interesting to see him do that. And like Rain said, Michael Saylor doesn't get it all the way right. He is a Bitcoin maxi, and I think that he's got blinders on with that. And look, he's made great money. And when you have like such large amounts of money, like a 2 to 3x is phenomenal with a company like that. You know what I mean? And like, you don't need to be in these higher risk coins and things. But like, I mean, he basically came out straight and was just like, there's no way that ETH is getting an ETF. It's not going to improve. No way, right? but now that it's been approved, he's kind of like taking a step back and he's trying to reassess. Like I think that really blew his mind and has changed his paradigm like a little bit. Still very Bitcoin maxi, but right now it's been interesting. Like all of the alts are bleeding like crazy, and I'm seeing people in VC chats and they're kind of freaking out and they're like, is the bull run over? And yeah, there's that capitulation where people are kind of just throwing their hands up. And that's when I feel like we're starting to get close. We're starting to get pretty close here to where I think that there's going to be this where people lose hope and they kind of sell out. And that's when things, when the most amount of people are out of the game, that's when things change. And look, something you talked about meme coins, Rain. It's funny because I have jumped into meme coins for the first time, and it'll be interesting. I actually bought some DJT coin, right, like a little while ago, and like I'm up a bit, and it's super volatile. And my bet is more just like I wonder if it pumps. And we're not going to get into politics. I promised one of the VeVe fan that we wouldn't really get into politics, but like during these debates, but
what's funny is if he does well, that token would go. If I were to jump into meme coins, that would probably be one with the timing that I would do, only because the timing is so critical.
Yeah, and
because of what's coming up with the debates and other things.
Yeah, and so we'll see, right? Because there's MAGA hat, and then there's Trump.
There's so many.
There's so many. So like we'll see, but because of the tie-in, the potential and the speculation of like Barron Trump or like that time with DJT, that's where I was like, I'm gonna go, and we'll see how that rides. But look, and then I want to address this. Atom says you can't treat a meme coin as a single coin. I think you can. I think each meme. I see what you're saying. Like you can't treat meme coins in general as a single coin. Look, some of these are popping off, right? And
you can treat it like a narrative, which is exactly what I did. I was in real estate, and I was telling people real estate is terrible right now. I was at that same time was able to find a land deal for somebody who bought it for $200,000, who got offered a year later when the market was even worse $500,000. So does that mean you can still make money? It means be freaking careful. It's shit is what it means, because look, you're saying what everyone is saying in the crypto space. And whenever you say that, ATEM, what everyone else is saying in the crypto space, that is the time to be worried. You're also saying what most people are saying about OMI. I wouldn't look to the side and think that that's a good thing. You're going to find out why. You're just new at this. Cool. Maybe I'm wrong on this. Cool. I've been wrong before. It just doesn't happen very much. This is a pattern. I've been in 7 years. And before that, I was in investment for 18 years before even getting started in crypto, a total 25 years investment space. Just know when you're saying whatever most people are saying in the space, you should be really worried. You're probably going to run off the cliff with everyone else.
Look, and I bring this up, right, because I think it's important. We are bullish on OMI. I mean, shoot, the whole show is called OMI is my homie. And I don't mind people who have a different view, right? And we can talk on that. And look, just because no one is touching OMI, I agree, right? It doesn't necessarily make it a smart investment. But that's not the only reason that we're saying that we're bullish on OMI. It's not just because people aren't talking about it. It's because of everything behind it, the company behind it that's generating profits, all of the partnerships, right? Everything that they're building, that Marvel VeVe Comics, like all of those things to us is what makes it a smart investment. And all we're looking for is if, and it's an if, right? The NFT / digital collectibles narrative hits. And if it does, OMI is tied to that. And like I just by default, it's going to go up. Now, how much? Who knows, right? But that's our bet. And the great thing is, Aiton, we'll be able to see who's right and who's wrong. We're putting our money where our mouth is, and not everyone's going to agree on these tokens and stuff. And I get that. I wish everyone like the utmost success, with their investment strategies. This is not financial advice from us. These are our thoughts, and this is just what we're doing. But I love the conversation. That's why I show some of these like differing views. I think it's important to try to capture everything so that this isn't just like rainbows and unicorns and la la land, right? That we do look at these things, and then we have our rebuttals as to why we don't agree with that stance.
Yeah, and ATM, like we make this mistake as human beings, and this is why most people get destroyed in crypto, is that they assume what has been happening is what's going to continue to happen. Oh, everyone's making millions from meme coins. Well, they're not making millions. Their portfolio value might be up, but if they haven't realized that, when the major reversal happens, many of their gains will be evaporated instantly, and they'll actually lose money. So are a lot of people up on meme coins? As of now, they are. But most people don't take profits when they're ahead because they think that gravy train is going to run for forever. In fact, one of the worst things they do is then they buy more because they look to the left and the right and they see everybody is making money on meme coins is what it feels like. That is the worst time to be buying. The real time that savage investors buy is when you look to the left and right and everyone's saying, OMI's down for 3 years. It's doing nothing but going down. It's dead. Oh my gosh, nothing's going to happen because they assume that what has been happening is what's going to continue to happen. Oh my gosh, everyone who bought OMI at a certain time are down 70%. Stay the hell away from OMI. Okay. So when I started buying Cardano in 2019 at 11 cents, oh my hell, it went down to 8 cents. So I bought more. Went down to 7 cents. I bought more. It went down to 5 cents. I bought some more. Went down to 3 cents. I bought as much as I could. And I had some set aside for if it went even cheaper. Guess what? Most people were saying exactly what you're saying. Cardano is a dead token. Cardano, oh my gosh, you should buy, I forget what had just come out with like staking and you could earn a reward and it was up 10x and everyone's like, oh my gosh, sell your Cardano and roll it into that. Everyone's making money on it. And all the people that then sold their Cardano at 3 cents and bought that other one that was now up 10x, they then got savaged by the pullback that followed on that token. And they ended up selling their Cardano right near the bottom because what goes down when it has strong fundamentals will then rebound massively. And a lot of people miss out on those runs. So I'm hearing arguments from you that I heard all the time back then, and all those people were wrong. And guess what? Most people make the same argument you are. But also most people that come in the crypto space, they have no investment cycle background. So maybe take the time to listen to people that have investment cycle background, or just go ahead and touch that hot stove. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right and you understand it better than I am. And all my experience isn't worth anything because maybe you are right this one time. And cool. I'm wrong sometimes. I'm just right a lot more than I'm wrong, which is why crypto has done very well for me.
There's also something else to consider, and this won't affect everyone, only the people that have a good amount of money to spend or have large wallets. There was somebody that posted their wallet the other day. It's like, anyone that tells you can't make $1 million from meme coins, look at this. And the person had $1 million worth of meme coins in this wallet. And I was like, okay, that's pretty impressive. And just curiosity got me, and I went to look at the projects. Like, okay, this person is a pretty big wallet holder in all of these, and if this person were to sell, people are definitely tracking this wallet. That might turn some eyebrows. And then also in 2 of the projects, they're very, very low liquidity. He was only in like 5 projects, very low liquidity. And it's like, okay, if he tries to sell a fraction of that, it's gonna put down the price, and suddenly it's not, it hasn't made $1 million anymore. So I know that's not going to affect a lot of people, but that'll only affect some people. Like if you decide like, hey, this little project here has 800,000 in market cap, and I'm going to put slowly 50K into it or whatever, I'm going to own X amount of the tokens. Be advised that that's you'll become one of those wallets. People will track it, and as soon as you start to sell, people shit on you, they'll hate on you, and then they'll sell right as you're selling, and it's going to be really hard to take those profits.
So Jason, I have no idea what this means. I'd love you to clarify. I have to shout out Fro Comey. When we do the content creator space, I shouted him out as one of my favorite people because, and don't get me wrong, there's people who do incredible stuff. The humor is a big part of my life. Like, I love it so much. It just speaks to me. And so whenever I come across his posts, there's just always something that makes me smile. Keep doing what you're doing, Fro. Your content is appreciated. I love it. And I love the positivity, right? Look, again, and that's one thing that I'm really trying to focus on. There's some people in the chat asking about some drama that's happening on Twitter. We're not going to touch it. We're not going to touch it. We're not going to give that individual any time on this. I'm sorry. Look, if like they can figure it out, whatever's going on, and we'll see once everything comes to light what's happening there. But like, we're here for positivity. We can talk about things and debate and disagree, in a nice, friendly way. And let's just do that, right? Like, that's what this space is about. I love this. Hey, congrats, $600. That's dope. See here. So crypto face just took a multi-million-dollar short on Bitcoin. I've seen some people doing some TA on Bitcoin, and like they're saying it could drop into the 50s, 50,000. That would be very interesting to see. Let's see. Oh, shout out to Crypto Cosmo, who has been a guest on the show multiple times now. We appreciate him. Man,
what's up, Cosmo?
If you haven't seen the episodes where Cosmo was on this, you guys should go back and listen to that. No joke. This guy, he's a smart guy, man. He's made some crazy moves, and funny enough, like he's made good money on meme coins. Like he's been able to have some pretty good success on that stuff. But okay, so we kind of talked about crypto investment cycles. Let's go into a little bit more detail, Randy, on this Marvel Capcom. Do you want to share it? Like you said that David sees this out. I didn't see it. So if you want to share your screen and
yeah, well, I'm not on a computer, but I can just show it on I could show it on my phone though. It was from his his Instagram account, and the Instagram account it showed Hypebeast on there. So Hypebeast had posted that originally. Hypebeast has 10.7 million followers over on Insta. And again, that's David's Insta. And it's just showing Marvel vs. Capcom is coming back. For those of you that don't know, that in like the late 90s, early 2000s, Marvel vs. Capcom was some of like the greatest arcade games that came out. I think you could have played that, I think, on PS2 as well. But it was one of the most epic crossover events that you could ever have. Yeah, OMI Triforce. And in it, you could be anyone from any one of the things. Now, obviously, Marvel has like thousands and thousands of characters. You had maybe a couple dozen. My favorite was Iron Man, Venom, and War Machine. I'm a big Marvel guy. But there'd be tournaments. People would play that. And I don't know why. David does this thing where every now and then he shares something that seems that has nothing to do with VeVe and OMI. This might be one of those things, but we do have the Capcom license, and we do have obviously Marvel. So, what could it mean? If we want to speculate, maybe that means if we have a certain collectible from them, we can access a certain skin that's only available if you have the collectible. Maybe something like that. But that's as far as I think my speculation will go for right now.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. And look, I mean, it's fun to speculate, but it's also dangerous, And that's one thing that I think that like the VeVe fam, we've burned ourselves, right? And given some fodder to the fudders is, where we speculate on something and we're like, oh, for example, this crypto.com thing, right? Where they're tweeting it out and they've got this green candle and then there's Spider-Man on there. And we're like, oh, and then there's Dragon Ball Z. And everyone's like, oh, is VeVe or is OMI going to be listed on crypto.com? And they're speculating. And I'm like, guys, Like this is like it's Marvel. You know, let's kind of it's fun to speculate, but like let's not get it to the point where like if it doesn't happen, then we're like let down and we're all like, I can't believe it didn't happen. It's like it's never promised. Like the next big focus, which is kind of talked about in the chat, and we can talk about this a little bit, right? Is OMI to NFT. You know, look, and there's some shout outs here. So let's talk about this. OMI to NFT, and then Austin saying like, how do you think the OMI will burn for tokenomics? And again, okay, let's be transparent about this. The team has not come out and officially said that they are going to be doing any sort of OMI burns. I will publicly come out and say if there's not OMI burns, I will be extremely frustrated. Absolutely. And I say that because and look, like Gobi talked about, like they changed their tokenomics and that's a big deal. I agree it is a big deal. At the same time, there is a reason why they changed their tokenomics. It's because of the regulatory landscape, guys. Like it's huge. Token buybacks and token burns initiated by the founders of the token make it a security. Absolutely. So they had to pivot from that. And anyone who doesn't recognize that and say that sucks, but that's what had to be done, you're just not being realistic. And like I don't know what to tell you. Like those are the facts. They had to pivot from that. Do I like that? No. Did I make a reassessment and say, am I still willing to go forward with that? Yes. If they don't implement token burns and I don't see some substantial utility from this token, I will take a step back and I will reassess. I'm doing that constantly, guys. And I'll be honest with you in these discussions. If there's something that changes my mind, like, you know, so I think sometimes it's funny because I'll get accused for being this moon boy that like I don't listen or I'm not paying attention to the facts. And it's just like I talk about this stuff all the time. I look at these things and I assess and then I tell you guys what my thoughts are. Whether or not you agree with them, like that's up to you. And that's the cool thing, right? Is that we get to be grown-ups and put on our big boy pants or big girl pants and make these decisions for ourselves. So I'm loving kind of the shout out there to a lot of people. They're just chatting in there. I had to time out Atim because, man, it's just being antagonistic. And like I said, guys, this is about positivity. You can disagree and stuff. You start attacking people, you can be out. We don't need that. I don't want that. Go somewhere else. You have your own platform to do that on. But get in here and you know, make your comments professional and we'll address them. So
Seasick Viking kind of summarized it really well. Like, am I big on meme coins? No. Do I understand some people invest in them? Yes, there's a specific skill set you want to develop if you're going to invest in meme coins. Number one, it is later in the meme coin cycle, so that should be worrying to you. Number two, there's not fundamentals to look deeper on. So really what you have to be measuring daily is sentiment analysis. And Seasick, I thought, did a great job. He just said, you know, thousands of people have made millions off of memes. Millions of people have also lost money on memes. If you play them right, they're great, just not Rain's focus. And he's exactly right on that because it's a different skill set of having your finger on the pulse of sentiment all the time. He then said, I watched Rain's show. He just says it's not his focus because it takes a lot of time and energy, and he focuses more on utility. Got to really be on point, nose to the grindstone with so many memes. And he's right. And then you have to take profits when you're ahead. And right now, the point in the meme coin cycle for those that are investing in it, it's time to consider taking profits. And right now, it seems crazy to do that because everyone's saying they're so good. And that in itself is your indicator. When was it good to take time or profits on, say, the VeVe Comics and like, you know, Batmans and stuff with VeVe? Well, when everyone was saying that it's never going to stop going up, because it then does stop going up. Like I called this on Solana 3 months ago. I was like, I like Solana. It has amazing long-term potential. I'm really worried because everyone in the crypto space says it's never going to stop going up. It's going to flip Ethereum. And that's worrying me. And guess what? Like the next day it started its big crash. Why? Because what goes up doesn't always continue going up. It reverses at some point. Even when Solana, which has strong fundamentals, it'll probably be around for a long time, it's now pulled back 66%. So whenever you're in the crypto space and you're in something, everyone's like, it's never going to stop going up. That's going to worry you. And when you're looking at fundamentals of something and buying something that's cheaper, that has gotten even cheaper, you know what they call you then? They call you a moon boy. Oh, cool. That probably means you're doing the right thing if they're calling you a meme boy and they say, nobody's buying that right now. Well, that's cool. You're using fundamentals and research to buy something when it's cheap. And guess what? Most people aren't going to agree with you at that point. This is why only 5% of people make and keep gains in the crypto space, because you have to be completely willing to do something that most of the people in the crypto space are going to tell you you're crazy for doing. Look, I say these things and people are like, Rain just doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, we'll see. We're going to see how this plays out over the next year. Cool. I have a track record. People can have a feel for what that track record is. Am I right all the time? No, but I'm right a lot more than I'm wrong. And when I'm right, boy, the gains are massive. Cool. So I don't touch meme coins. There's some reasons behind it. Some people do, and it's their game. And some people are even good at it, which is cool. I just stay away from it. For me, it's less predictable than analyzing businesses and seeing if the business has strong fundamentals, like VeVe and OMI, in my opinion, has very strong fundamentals. I wouldn't say that I don't care that the token's way down. I'm super excited that it's way down. And if it gets even cheaper, awesome. I'm even more excited, because that's the way I invest, is on fundamentals of the business underlying it. And then I just wait till the narrative comes. And guess what? It does. It does. This point in the last early bull market, one of my big investments, at the time it was big, was Axie Infinity. And everyone told me I was stupid and crazy, didn't know why I was doing that project, wasn't going to survive at this point. Cool. Some other ones, Cardano, there were a number of ones. And guess what? Everyone disagreed with me that they were going to do well. You know, and so now when I bring those up as examples, people say, well, they're not the same. The market sentiment is exactly the same, even though, of course, the projects aren't exactly the same. They're never going to be exactly the same. But what's weird is these patterns play out over and over again.
Yeah. So I want to address a couple of things. Mo, everyone in the crypto space is looking for more clarity, right? So we're hoping that some of these lawsuits play out all the way, and we do get some clarity. So projects, not just VeVe and OMI, right, but all projects entering this space understand what the boundaries are. Companies still don't understand, they don't know fully what the boundaries are with some of this stuff. And when VeVe tied to so much different IP, they've got to be hypersensitive on some of this stuff. A lot of other projects don't have to be. Like, another thing is, you know, like you had Atem talking about, like, he's traded more than Rain. Look, I think that Atem just doesn't understand, like Rain's play on how this is. It's not trading. Look, there are some traders. Most traders don't make money. If they do, it's not a lot. They don't make millions. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Most traders out there, they don't make millions. So I hear people and they're like, I made some good money on meme coins, and I'm like, that's great. Like, and I love making money, and I hope that you leverage that, you know, to get into projects that truly have significant potential in the long term. And so when Rain is buying it, you know, 005 and then 001, and he's saying, hey, I'm still buying OMI as opposed to going into meme coins, like, all I can say is you just look at his track record, right? He's a multimillionaire from crypto, and a lot of these people who come on and they say I made money from meme coins, and they're putting in $100, they're putting in $200 because it's too high risk to put in $10,000, $20,000 into a project, and that's good, right? I understand that. And are there instances where people can make 100x on meme coin, 1,000x on a meme coin? Yes, but you got to be super early, you got to be super sniper bot and lucky. And I'm just not willing to devote the time to try to find those projects. I'd really like to look at the fundamentals there. And so again, like, I'm just not going to cover that anymore. And Atem, like, Rain says you're new, and maybe you're not new. Maybe you've been trading and things like that. But it's this mentality that, like, OMI can't succeed. Like, even though we've laid out all of these things, that, like, it just comes across as like immature in the crypto space. We're not saying it will succeed. We're saying it has a high potential to succeed, and laying that out why. So anyways, again, I'm just not.
I would say that I listen to the.
Go ahead.
The arguments people make reveals their skill set, right? So you're making arguments that I hear new people make for the last 20 years in investment. So maybe you aren't new, but if you aren't new, you make the same arguments new people make. So cool. Length of time in it isn't what determines whether you're good or not. And if you're good, you would be making different arguments. And that's what I would say, like, cool, but you're making arguments that new people make because new people don't understand the market cycles. And look, maybe you're right. Meme coins maybe go 100x from here. Odds are really poor. And all I'm doing in the crypto space is I'm just playing odds. So I like to take the odds where the odds are massively in my favor. Taking meme coins right now, the odds are flipping against you strongly, and most people don't realize it because they've gone up so much and runs don't continue for forever. People, as their dollar cost averaging more at these highs, they don't realize they're flipping the odds against them massively because they're just new to this. And they won't realize it till all of a sudden it flips down and savagely hurts them. And then they're like, crap, Rain told me this was going to happen. And look, I don't know when the run flips around and stops with meme coins. Cool. It's a narrative that does run. You know, last crypto cycle, they were pretty new last crypto cycle and this crypto cycle. And so, and they will flip around at one point. When you should be concerned is when everyone is saying that this is the new meta and it's not going to stop. That should be one of your key indicators. It's like, it's going to turn sooner than I think. And it's now time to start taking profits off the table, not putting more money in. That's how experienced people think. That's not the argument you're making, but that's the argument every experienced person I know makes. That's what tells me you're new at this, or at least you're making the arguments that new people make.
And don't get this wrong. We know that there are, I mean, the whole reason meme coins are a thing is because of Doge and because of Sheeb and Pepe. And well, why? It's like, okay, we all know somebody that has made money in that, and probably a significant amount of money. But those are 3 examples out of how many tens of thousands of meme. I think 10,000 meme coins are made in just May alone. How many of those really ran? How many super success stories do you see from that? I don't really, and it doesn't happen all that often. And it's the same way with gambling. Okay, yes, people have made a ton of money gambling, but that's 1% of 1%. Most people do not make money gambling. There's a lot of very, very sad stories about people going to the casinos and people winning $10,000 and giving it all back. And that's what I see a lot with people and meme coins. And so, yeah, some people, sorry, yeah, I'm done. Go ahead.
I know, I was going to just a perfect example of that. So in college, I was working at a gas station early on when I just started college, because it allowed me to study and make some money. Poor college student, and there was this family. There was a group of apartments right behind the gas station that we called like the regulars, right? And they'd come and they'd buy the stuff, and we got to know them. What's up? So this one day, one of the families rolls up in this like souped out truck, just like lifted, crazy wheels, just blinging. And I'm like, yo, what is that? And they were like, won the jackpot in Vegas, made like over $1 million, you know, and we were just like, that's amazing. We were super pumped for them and stuff. And they're just like, peace out. And we're just like, oh, we talk about that family. We're just like, wonder what they're doing. A year later, no joke, a year later, rolls up in like a Toyota Corolla. And I was like, what's up? How you guys doing? And they're like, money's all gone, bro. They'd spent it all, you know, all of it. It was all back, and they were literally living back in those apartments again, right? And so I think the reason, what I'm looking for and what this channel is about, what the whole purpose of this is really trying to talk about fundamentals. Are meme coins gambling, and can you make money? Yeah, cool. You know what I mean? We're not saying don't do that. We're just pointing out the risks there. Are there risks to OMI? Yes. And so, like, you know, there's look, there's some comments in there about like, is OMI in legal trouble? Like what legal trouble? Tell me about the OMI token. And all I can say is everything that I've seen from the OMI side of things is that they are trying to be compliant with all the regulations. So is OMI in legal trouble? Like, I said, be more specific. I don't understand what you're talking about. So if you can give me a better example. SoCal's grateful that you fixed those blinds. Randy, let's see.
Yeah, there's like 100 other tokens I could think off the top of my head that would be more at risk for like SEC investigation than OMI.
Yeah. You know, on that note, there was some really big news. Anyone catch the interview? They were interviewing Gary Gensler on some news program, and they asked them if it was going to be his fault if Joe Biden lost the upcoming election. Boy, did he get nervous and stuff. And he realized, oh, crap. If he loses, it's all going to be blamed on me because he's such a political animal. Keep in mind, he was the CFO for the Hillary Clinton campaign. Then when they lost, he went and worked for Harvard teaching blockchain. He does know about blockchain. What's interesting is once he got appointed to the SEC, he took arguments very much against the arguments he'd been making as a professor. There he said that ETH might have been a security at the very beginning. It's not now. And then in the SEC, he's taken the very opposite side of that. And so somebody was telling him to go that route. And now, I don't know if it's the White House or Elizabeth Warren or who has been making him go very anti-crypto, which he's been doing. And now, Donald Trump's campaign has gotten like hundreds of millions from the crypto community. And so like, if he wins, like he's going to be the fall guy. And he's starting to realize that of like, oh crap. And so he did not like those questions. He's like, I don't get into campaigns, but like you could hear the quiver in his voice and like, oh crap. Cause he has been so anti-crypto and absolutely just going after everything he could and like not giving clarity and just coming in like a sledgehammer. And like companies like Capcom have had to dance around the lack of clarity, trying to be compliant, but not knowing exactly what compliance looks like, just hoping they don't all of a sudden get some notice from the SEC that somehow they broke some rules that they didn't even know they were breaking. And Ecomi and every other crypto company has had to worry about this. And that is not a good regulator. That is really, really bad behavior from a regulator. And frick, I would love for him to get punished severely politically for being this way, because it's hurt U.S. interest tremendously by it being so hard for U.S. people to buy crypto and invest in crypto and put their money there. The U.S. is their economy has been held back from really not being able to found crypto projects in the U.S. And all those companies have been shipped overseas. In fact, many of the executives from those companies are from the U.S. and relocated outside the U.S. to run those companies. And it's been devastating to what it could have done for the U.S. being the premier blockchain crypto company in the world. And it's massively losing that race right now. Most of that because what's happened with the SEC under Gary Gensler.
For now, though. For now.
Then, well, we'll see. If Trump wins, Gary Gensler is not going to have a job there.
Well,
if Biden wins, Gary Gensler may still not have a job there.
What's going to happen is the modern investor says, what happens if Ecomi actually goes to $1?
Wait a second. We're not there yet.
Oh, okay. All right. What's the next one? I'm sorry. What's the next one?
Well, so the next one is master collectors, right? Level 100. And we've seen one of the things that was really cool and that kind of some people have brought up, right, is like the whole purpose of the master collectors and getting that level 100 is it was tough to achieve, but people have achieved it now. And so then they're like, well, what's next? Like, what's the incentive of being, a master collector at the 100 level? There's no more incentive to, sure, they can collect what they love, but like you got to gamify it some more, right? But one of the things is, Sanjay was trying to make some recommendations, and it sounds like some things are starting to happen, right? Because Sanjay made a good point. He's like, look, the people who are at level 100 right now, they've got a lot of money. So it's not necessarily about giving the money. Maybe they want experiences. Maybe they get like a special cool little session with David or something, right? So talk to me more about that, Randy.
Hey guys, I got a role. I promised someone in the community, Illuvium community, that I would join their stream, and there was a miscommunication on what time it started. I thought it was 30 minutes from now. Apparently it started 30 minutes ago. So I'm going to jump out and join them. Sorry, everyone.
Oh, snap. Rain, good. We appreciate you, man.
We'll hold down the fort.
All right, guys.
Wait, guys.
Bye, Rain. Yeah.
I'm going to be Rain.
Yeah, there we go.
I got it.
Then I'll be Dr. Stuff. I need a Boston shirt.
You need a Boston hoodie? Yeah, I don't have any Boston gear on right now. I got this LimeWire.
LimeWire?
Yeah, that is LimeWire, guys. Look at this. Look at this.
How old is that sweatshirt? What, Doc, is that sweatshirt like 20 years old?
Don't worry about it. It's awesome.
Okay. So what were we talking about? We were before
The
When
level
my training-
100. Level
Okay.
100.
So there's this new bowling game that I've been playing. I used to be a very avid bowler. I bowled a 300 when I was 15. I thought that was one of my greatest achievements in life. And in the game, like when you are scrolling and you get 12 seconds in a row, you get 300, you get a ring. And I was like, okay, well, what happens if you get another 300? You just get another ring. But they don't. Like the ring has little teeny tiny slots for diamonds in them. So every time you get another 300, you get a diamond in the ring, and you can fill it up.
Okay.
So what I think VeVe can do for their level 100s, they've already given them a hat. They've already given them a bunch of other stuff. But maybe they could give on the app, a level 100 can be different than another level 100. So how about on the app they go and they give them like a star, some type of star. And depending on how many stars you have will determine what level 100 you are. Are you a normal level 100? Are you a level 2 level 100? How many stars do you have on your profile? And that could also be indicated on their sales. Like if they go in and they say, hey, you can go and get my thing on the market, and it highlights it with a star right next to it. You're getting a collectible that once belonged to a level 100 star or whatever. These are just ideas, these are just thoughts, but I think that's one of the ways that they could do it. That's just one of my ways. What are you thinking?
Look, yeah, like I like that. I'm in Gears of War. I'd play, and you could get to that level 100, and then you restarted. But then, yeah, like as you got to the next level 100. So I like that idea, and that could be interesting, right? Like it resets, and you get like a second star, and then like each time that you hit level 100, there's like some physical or something that you get tied to it. That would be amazing, right? Because again, they're kind of looking like these people who have put all of this money into that. They definitely like it's the experience or it's those flexes, right? So the level 100, that's a flex in and of itself. But then getting kind of like rare things, and again, like whether or not it's even just like events or something where they get to meet with David or some of the team, or they get to do some sort of excursion, like whatever it is. Like the gold and silver logo holders the very first year, right? They all went to Disneyland together, something like that, right? Where they get to just really interact with the team. It's those type of things that like money can't necessarily buy, that I think really would incentivize people. And I think that that's important. I think that like, and one of the things in our OMI SR chat, because we want to give preference to these people and saying like, hey, is there something that you would like us to talk about or cover on the stream? And they're like, hey, how can you make the app more fun? And the gamification is needed. That's where I continue to push for trading, right? Trading needs to come back in some way, shape, or form. And I know that they have to be very, very careful with money laundering and setting up those parameters. But I believe that we have the KYC, we have those master collector levels and things where I feel like they can implement it. And, and I think that they should. I think that would bring a lot more excitement back into the app. I want to trade stuff. And like I said, I want to give some stuff away on the channel. I would love to be able to give some stuff away. And I would love other YouTubers to give stuff away where I'm trying to get that, because I want that collectible from that YouTuber, that content creator. Like that's meaningful to me, right? When Sanjay gifted me that ultra rare Marvel #1, like that's in the vault for good. And I look at that sometimes. I'm like, man, that's really special to me. So those are types of things that like that gamification needs to happen. I think the leaderboards are big, and you can see that on Stacker. And look, I think that Stacker has a bigger role to play here as you're getting. They said that they've done away with the API and they're getting like some sort of direct feed so that like the information is a lot more accurate. Because I saw people complaining and they're like, hey, it says I only have this many collectibles. I definitely have more than that. And they're like, there's something with the API, but they have that direct feed there. So I think things are coming together, right? And we can talk about going back a little bit to OMI to NFT. I will be very disappointed if I don't see, and this is just me, and again, I say these things and I follow through it. I would be very disappointed if we don't have OMI to NFT by the end of July or August. Yeah, like August at the latest, honestly. If we don't have OMI to NFT by the end of August, and Foster, who I really like Foster, and he's saying OMI to NFT is like our #1 priority, and we don't have that by then, I will say, hey, I'm concerned. I don't understand why they can't implement this What is going on? Are there legal troubles? Or is there something else? I try to be realistic to that point, right? So my projection is that we have OMI to NFT by August at the latest, if not sooner. So anyways, like it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But the leaderboards and going back to gamification, I think to keep people in the app and make it fun, there has to be those things. So I like the 2-star idea or the 3-star, right? Like in kind of leveling up that way. And I think that once they hit that milestone, there should be like another big thing to chase because of that, right? And you know what? Let's skip ahead a little bit to the chasing. And we've been seeing recent drops sell out. Why is that? Why is that, Randy?
Well, I mean, a lot of it's scarce. Well, one more thing is this is going to bug me on the level 100 thing. There's a scene in Batman Begins where Falcone is talking with Bruce Wayne, and he says, like, there's 2 off-duty cops, there's a judge, and there's a press secretary to the mayor or whatever. I would have no issue shooting you right now and getting away with it. That is fear. That is something you cannot buy, Mr. Wayne. And that got me thinking, what is something that you can't buy? What if they gave level 100 like voting rights on what comics to burn, or voting rights on what how many issues or how many mints there can be on a particular drop? And that kind of goes into why are drops selling out now. It's because I think they figured out, hey, if we make one of these out of the drops super scarce, people are going to gamble. They're going to go in and they're going to try to get that secret rare. Gary Baseman's Aru, I think that made $20-something thousand because the secret rare was like only 88 of them or 80 of them. That's why this one today, the grenades, catch a grenade for it made $20-something thousand. And because you hecked up, bro.
I did, man. I was in the middle of a presentation. I even set an alarm. I was presenting and I still set an alarm. And then I thought I muted, like I thought I'd like hit like snooze, and I hit turned off. And so then it didn't remind me because I gotten into the wait list. And so I was like, oh, okay. So just as a reminder, they set that alarm and everyone was like, what was that for? I was like, don't worry.
Did you bid? How much did you bid points?
Nope. I didn't bid any MCP points. I was like, I'm going to go in this like just luck. Because I'm like, if I'm lucky enough to get in without MCP points, and maybe I'm lucky enough to get that blue, like that was my whatever. I didn't even get to see if I got in, because by the time I remembered to check, it was like an hour later. I was like, super bummed on that.
True. But yeah, they did that because they've been very scarce things to chase, and that's what people like. Yeah. So this sold out in seconds. Like there was, I think 1 or 2 people I knew got a chance at the rebound. I hit it like right at, and I didn't get it. So, and that's what I think people need a little bit. They need that scarcity. Now I'm not saying every drop has to have like 400 and below mints, but if get something that has 1 or 2,000 mints, but then make the secret rare of it super scarce, like a 1 of 80, 1 of 88, and that'll bring people in because that blue grenade, granted that blue grenade is 1 of 25 and they keep the first 5, so there's really only 20 of them, but that's going for like $1,200. The Aru from Gary Baseman is going for like $250, $260. The Golden Dragon from the Tokidoki, that's going for $650. So scarcity works. People get value, and again, the drops sell out. So I think that's why that's happening.
Yeah. I like, look, there's a couple of things that I want to address, right? So Wes said VeVe has actually not given anything to level 100s. It's Sanjay who's given the hat. And that's like, to my knowledge, what I've heard is that Sanjay has said that VeVe is in the middle of doing something special for them. So you're right. To date, they have not done anything. Yeah. But like, I would love to see that, right? And VeVe's never promised that. Yeah, it's in the plans. But to be fair, VeVe never promised anything for the level 100s, right? But I think that's one of the things is rewarding some of your biggest collectors there that are like putting a lot of money into this. I think that's very fruitful to keep them happy and to keep them in the game, right? So now look, Leon, and I've kind of addressed this, right? To date, a lot of when you say all of the advertising, I would extremely disagree with that. We saw a massive amount of advertising and push especially with the Blackpink, but it was to Web 2. Didn't work so well, right? I think that they are pivoting, and now they're trying to start targeting Web 3, and I hope they do. And one of the things that I keep advocating for is some sort of referral program, right, for content creators. That would be massive, the amount of exposure that they would get from Web3 people and YouTube and content creators if there was a referral program. So I will constantly advocate for that. VeVe, if you're listening, I know that you hired Miss Greek. How do you say that? I can never say that. Is it Miss
Deuce Geeks?
Miss Deuce Geeks? I can't say it, but anyway.
Maybe,
but yeah, like she was hired to create this program. I don't know where it's at with that, but and maybe they're waiting kind of for like a bull. I don't know, but I don't think that they should just wait for the bull run. I think that they should just be doing that because as people start talking about it, they'll bring on new users. And to Leon's point later, right? Like he says, only popular drops sell out, and it's the same people buying. There aren't a lot of newcomers.
This wasn't the last few drops weren't popular. Like I'd never heard of Nick Walker before this. Gary Baseman, although I love him, he's a good friend. He's great. He's not a Marvel or Disney, but Disney guy. So I wouldn't say his stuff is like Toby's popular, but I wouldn't say his stuff is like, oh my God, Gary Baseman. Like there's not a ton of super Gary Baseman fans. And again, Nick Walker I hadn't heard of really before this. So it's not just the popular drops that sell out. It's the stuff that is pretty scarce.
Yeah. So one other thing that I want to give you my thoughts on this, right? Wouldn't OMI the NFT hurt them because they can't charge fees for cashing out? You can transfer your OMI out. Maybe that's why they're delaying it. So
sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead and give your thoughts, but I want to give my thoughts on why I think that it's taking so long, and it has to do with the wider crypto space. And this will just be my thoughts, but go ahead. Like, what are your thoughts on this, Randy?
So when you cash out gems, VeVe has to give out that money. Like that's going from VeVe's, one of their subsidiary accounts, and it goes to whatever bank that you decide to do that. With OMI to NFT, they don't have to give out any money. Like that's somebody else's OMI that you're getting. You're selling your stuff for somebody else's OMI. I don't know how those fees are going to be paid. The fees of the 2.5% to VeVe and the 6% to the other people. I don't know how that's going to be paid, but for the cashing out of gems, VeVe has to give money. For the cashing out of OMI, that's somebody else's OMI. They don't have to give doo-doo for that. So that's they would want to get that out as quickly as possible, because they have to give out. They take back 10% of what you cash out. But a lot of people, and this is why they haven't lowered that 10%, is because people do not buy from the web app. They don't go to app.veve.me on the website. They just buy it from their app, where it costs them 30 cents on the dollar in order to go and give that to you. So they want to go and change it as quickly as possible. They're not delaying it because of that. And then your thoughts.
Yeah. So here's my thoughts. With respect to regulatory uncertainty, and you start bringing the token into the app, I think that they are trying to figure out a way to distance the app from the token in that transaction. And the reason is, okay, let's look at what Cryptoys has done. Okay. So Cryptoys are like, hey, our NFTs are interoperable. However, if you want to buy and sell them, right, you don't do that on Cryptoys platform. You do that on Rarible, right? So Rarible is a third party. It's a separate party that is managing that marketplace and doing that. And I think it has to do with based on the efforts of others type thing with the token. And then tying that in with the Dapper Labs decision is you're starting to see, because Dapper Labs, they maintain that market. But what are they doing now? They're creating a DAO that manages the Flow blockchain in that token. And that DAO will be a separate third-party entity that is separate from NBA Top Shots and everything else like in that ecosystem. So I think that they are trying to structure in such a way to create that marketplace while still maintaining. And this is what if you read the terms of service for Cryptoys, right? Basically, they're saying, hey, you can buy, sell, and trade, buy and sell these NFTs only on authorized platforms. If you sell it, transfer it to OpenSea and try to sell that, basically they have the right to null that NFT. Why? Because they are bypassing the royalty. Right now, what they have on Rarible on that platform is the ability to continue to maintain those royalties. So that's some of the thing that VeVe is trying to deal with. Now, maybe they go with Rarible or something like that, a third-party marketplace, and keep it like that. They could. We've just seen Cryptoids do that. But I think that that's the biggest thing is OMI to NFT, you're going to see some sort of third-party so that there's that displacement between VeVe and the token. That would be my guess. And that's a lot. That's a lot to integrate when you're trying to talk about a lot of different IP there. So look, another thing that I want to cover, and I'll agree here, Leon, you're right. They have stepped up their advertising game. Huge weight still falls on content creators. Look, I enjoy talking about this stuff. Do I wish that more would do it? And I think that more would with, some sort of like that program, right? Referral program. But I got to give a shout out to Big A here because he nails this. This is true. Bottom line, this is true. In this space, in Web3, people go where you can make money. As soon as VeVe drops are guaranteed profits, regardless of rarity, they will flood back. Now, because then he talked about here where he got the number 87 green, still a money loss, but not a huge loss as basement. But you know what's funny though, Big A, is you look at meme coins. Most people don't make money on meme coins, and yet so many people still flock to that because they see the people, the stories that just like, oh, I bought, mother at, $15,000 market cap and now I'm a millionaire type thing. And they're willing to gamble on that. And that's honestly part of the thing with these chasers is people want those chasers, whether because they want the rarity of the chaser as a social flex, or they know that more than likely they're going to be making some good money on that. And so that's why we're seeing some of these drops sell out. Let's call that what that is, right? And Cosmo agrees there.
Sorry, I had the heartburn from the spaghetti and meatballs. Like I still ate it, from before. Anyway, to address Leon, and I feel like I've already addressed this with the guest again when he says VeVe charges a fee for cash out. That's how they make money. But again, they're having to give you money for cashing out. They're taking a portion of that to help cover their fees of that 30%. But that's not how they make money. Again, how are they making money if they have to give you money? The money that they make is mostly on sales from the store. And then, yes, they do make 2.5% for every single sale that happens in the secondary. But again, just trying to explain that for people that would read that and think otherwise. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah. No, I think that's as important is, yes, if owning the NFT ultimately will be a benefit to VeVe, because now as people are selling, instead of selling collectibles for gems, which VeVe has to pay that out for, it'll just be OMI, but they're still making that revenue stream of the 2.5%. However, that's sold, that OMI, like there's going to be some conversion where VeVe is keeping 2.5% of that, or, and so I'll be very interested to see the tokenomics, but rest assured, VeVe will be getting money from the OMI to NFT sales, and there'll be royalty fees, and the seller's going to out of the OMI. I don't know exactly how that's going to work. Right. That'll be interesting to see. But anyways, and then lower mint drops, increased secondary, and we're starting to see that, Big A. We are starting to see VeVe pivot, and the drops that they're doing are lower mints, and then we're getting that chaser, and that's become more exciting for me, right? And actually, the animation on this last one, that heart grenade, is pretty dope, man. The sound and animation, and then also the physicals with that, thought that was super cool. I wanted to answer and shout out to Tanash. Great question. Will they ever become mainstream on other marketplaces like OpenSea and Magic Eden? I haven't
looked at those places in a while.
I don't think so. And the reason I say like there's a possibility, but they've got to develop a system to where they can ensure that the royalties are collected. That's the biggest thing. So could they partner with Magic Eden and say, okay, if these collectibles go onto your site, like you build out this specific gated platform where they can be traded and we ensure the royalty, They could probably do something like that, just like Cryptoys did with Rareable. So is it possible? Yes.
Probably don't want that though, because then people that sell that, like, they're not going to do that for free. They're not going to do that with the kindness of their heart. They're going to have to take a piece of it. So every time it sells, like, how much are they going to get? Are they going to get 2%, 3% of every sale? Now suddenly you're paying 10% every time you want to sell. That's I think stuff on OpenSea. How much does that cost for when you sell it?
Wait, what? OpenSea?
Stuff on OpenSea. How much does that cost if I sell something for $100?
Man, well, I know that like for a while, Bored Ape was like 8% royalty, right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, OpenSea had like a fee, and I think that was like 2.5% on OpenSea. So
if they do that on OpenSea, that's at least another 2.5%. So instead of 8.5, you're going to 11.
But the thing is like, obviously, like just like with more exchanges, the more platforms that the NFTs could be on, and maybe it's just like, well, I want to go to Magic Eden because that's where all the volume is, and so yes, maybe I'll take a hit, but because that's where all the volume is, like I can sell it for more there. I don't know, right? So, but yeah, like, will they ever become mainstream on other marketplaces? I think it's possible. Do I think that's going to happen in the short term, like in the next year? Like, I don't. To be honest, I don't see that happening. I like this question. Do you? And we haven't talked about it. Appreciate you, Jeremy. And I like these questions, guys. This is a big thing too. Is I want to make sure that this show we are really like interacting with the community and answering these questions. But do I think that VeVe should release now? Not VeVe, but ECOMI should release a new white paper. Or are you talking about VeVe with like a roadmap, or ECOMI with the white paper? Because
he probably means ECOMI.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that we'll have to wait until they actually do this OMI to NFT. But then, yes, I think it would be very, very helpful to issue a white paper and say, here's the utility of the token, here's the breakdown of that token. And we kind of have a little bit about it, but I would love like a full-on new, like reestablished white paper for people coming in and being like, what's this token? What's the use case? What's going on here? I would like to see that.
They could do that for stuff that's already happened, and they've come out with articles, on the VeVe app, just saying like, okay, here's what you get for bronze tickets, MCP points, and all that. But I think they have so much PTSD from them saying like, hey guys, here's what we want to do, is what we're going to do, and then the community come out and pitchfork saying like, because they don't understand how tech works and developing, and how, hey, there's an unforeseen bug, like we know we promised this by January, it's going to take us until March because there's something that it needs to be coded out and worked, and so they're probably not going to do it for any future utility that's not yet, that we don't know. But yeah, something that we already have, for stuff we already have, I think that's fine. But I don't think ECOMI is going to do that, have a roadmap, even if there's no date. Even if they go and say, hey, here's our plan, we're not going to give any dates on it. After a year and we get 2 or 3 of those things, they're like, okay, it's been a year, what happened to the rest of this roadmap? Like, guys, you just got this many stuff. People just, they don't focus on what they have. They only focus on what they're missing. And that's not true in just investments. It's true in life. I just see so many people say like, oh, I wish I had that. I wish I had this. And it's from people in like first world countries that are like better off than 99% of the rest of the world. But again, I feel like I'm preaching here. Sorry. But where were we at before?
Yeah, no, I mean, like just addressing some of these topics here, right? And going back, because he just said, Will, do you see these VeVe collectibles going mainstream on some of these? And someone did an analysis, and basically like VeVe Market was doing more transactions, or can you tell me, like, I don't want to misspeak here, but there was some comparison to OpenSea, and in some way VeVe was beating OpenSea. Now, look, Magic Eden has definitely well overtaken OpenSea, so let's be very transparent about that. So comparing VeVe to OpenSea is not the market leader that it used to be. In some people's minds, that's still it, because they really haven't kept up with the NFT space, right? But Magic Eden is definitely where the large majority of volume has occurred now.
Yeah, I remember tweeting about this, so I'll find it, because I very rarely mention OpenSea. So I'll find it on my tweets. Verbalized it yet? Golden, this stuff. Maybe it's in my replies. Oh, I see. It's because I get people tag OpenSea in it a lot, and I'm replying to it. It's yeah, I don't have it. I'll let you know at some point. But yeah, that's not going to be this episode. There's too much to go over.
Yeah, no worries there. So, well, let's go on to the next topic that we're going to cover, right? And that's and I had cut you off because I was like, "Yo, we're going to talk about that a little bit later."
Oh, yeah.
But modern investors' take on VeVe and OMI. Do you want to give a recap? He's put out some videos there, and I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, he just mentioned in a tweet the other day. He was just saying, and it was 23 June. So what happens if a Comey actually goes to $1? So he's not saying like, "Yo, a Comey to $1, buy right now." He's just asking what happens. And I was asking Rain that before, like that happens, and you have a couple $100 million. You gonna, you gonna fund your favorite politicians? I don't think you'd waste his money on that. But maybe, who knows? The thing is with him, I've tried to get him to. He did agree to come on the podcast. I've DM'd, and he's answered like once, like, "Hey, I'm busy right now. I'm moving," which is fine. But he doesn't have the most up-to-date understanding. Somebody said, "Have they started the burn?" Last time I checked, the community was disappointed, and it kept me from investing. And then he goes and replies and says, "From what I understand, the burn happens automatically as transactions happen, similar to XRP. I think the burn also takes place when NFTs are purchased on the app." So in a sense, he is right. That does happen from the reserve wallet and the vault, but that is something that it doesn't affect the circulating supply because those things will never go into the circulating supply, so it's not going to matter. That would have mattered in the old white paper when they said, "Oh, once we get down to 40% of the supply, we'll use 10% of the funds and we'll buy back the, from that." So buybacks, you can do them, but there has to be different ways to do them because they can't do it from the profits, or at least there's a couple other companies I know that are doing it. And they say that they can't have a fixed rate of like, "Hey, we're going to take 10%. It's got to be different. It's got to be, I don't know what exactly it is, but they can do them like that. They can do buybacks. But it can't be a fixed rate, like 10%.
Wait a second. What? What are you talking about? They can do buybacks.
Well, okay, so let me rephrase this. There are other companies I know that are doing buybacks, and the buybacks that they said to prevent them from becoming a synthetic security was saying that they cannot have a fixed rate of a certain percentage. Like back in the day, Comey said, "We'll take 10% of the profits and buy back the token to fill the reserve." And that's where they would have been the security. So I could try to find the actual quote here.
I mean, are you able to name that project that's doing that? Because
I'm looking right.
Because I'm thinking about the Howie prong where it says based on the efforts of others, and basically a share buyback increases the value of the outstanding shares that are out there in the market. So with the token buyback, whether it's 10% or an unfixed amount that they're doing, they are repurchasing shares or those tokens and increasing thereby with supply and demand, right? Should thereby increase the value of the token. And that's based on the efforts of the project. I don't think they can do any sort of buybacks, man. I don't like. Now look, people can do this and it's not until it gets brought in front of a court and then it's vetted, right? And like settled in the court of law that you really get that answer. But I would not be recommending any project be doing buybacks until there is absolute certainty on that. Because again, I look at that as fitting that at least that portion of the Howie prong test. Yeah. Howie test.
So it's in their public telegram. So I'll tell them that it's oh, thanks, Ace Rig Move. We love you.
Yeah, hold on.
Somebody
what am I doing?
Somebody goes by Justin Bieber. If this is the same Justin Bieber that was on E4, then he's been following me. Anyway, he says, "Would be great if there would be hard numbers like 5% percentage of the trading fees go to buybacks. And by the way, the most impressive part of the project is that there's also revenue streams that exist outside of crypto. So this is in the Dfinity public Telegram. Say there's also revenue streams exist outside of crypto, like FX, which can help the project through bear periods when crypto volume decreases. But anyway, what he was saying is like it'd be great if there were like 5% of the trading fees go back to buybacks. And this guy says that isn't possible because stating and fixing buyback amounts could result in Dfinity being classified as a security. However, the team has said that they are committed to Dfinity being deflationary, so it's safe to say that buybacks will be significant. So they are doing it, and Front Fans are also doing it. Front Fans is now granted these people are in Europe. Dfinity is based out of Europe. Front Fans is based out of Europe. So maybe that has a little bit of a difference.
Well, definitely, if they are not, you know, I don't know, right? Because like I've bought Dfinity as a U.S. person, so I don't know how they escape that, man. Like, I mean, look, now here's one thing: oh, Randy, he's gone. Maybe he didn't like what I was saying. No, but look, I'll keep going. Dfinity. Oh, there he is. He's back. But
sorry about that. Repeat the last 10 seconds. I was gone.
for Dfinity, like I definitely like the founder, right? And I know he knows his stuff. So like, and maybe he's looking at like European stuff. Like they're starting to get clarity with Mika, right? Super helpful, that kind of outline. Now they still need to. There's some things that aren't so crypto friendly in Mika, but it's a starting point, and that's so important. So, yeah, we'll have to see, man. But for US, I think that right now, and look, they haven't done it yet, though, right? They've talked about it, but they haven't done it yet. Once I start seeing token buybacks, we'll see what happens, because I think
here's the other
that.
thing. They're not allowed to do that themselves, but David mentioned that he doesn't take a salary, which I really like CEOs like Elon Musk and David that do that. Typically, the people that do that usually have successful companies, but he says he doesn't take a salary. So what's to stop him from saying like, oh, these 10% of profits that I'll take from the company, I'll just pay that as my salary. And then he takes that salary, buys the token for himself, and then just, oops, I accidentally sent it to the burn wallet. Is that something that because the community's not doing it, the company's not doing it, he's taking his own salary that he's paying from the company, which he rightfully earns, and he's buying what he wants to off of exchanges or wherever, and then that's his own personal property, and then he's burning it.
That's a gray area, right? Because he's one of the founders, man. You know, and so even though because people could like, okay, let's say I'm the SEC, I'm gonna argue, look, part of your income stream comes from VeVe, right? And the OMI token, or like especially if there's OMI to NFT, there's some correlation there, and that's flowing back to you. Then you're using some of that income to then burn the token. Like, I think that they can make that connection. So no, I don't think that's going to happen. Now, to Wes's point, right? Why can a Comey burn OMI from non-circulating supply via transactions on VeVe, but not burn from the circulating supply? The reason is because that OMI was never in circulation. And so burning that OMI that was never in circulation, it has no impact on the price. So they can continue to do that. That OMI was never going to enter into circulation. The whole point was to take some of that initial amount, right? Put that in there to demonstrate that it could be burned. And then they were going to buy from the circulating supply once it dropped to a certain percentage and bring that in there, right? Now, once the SEC started going after all of these tokens and basically buybacks were kind of like in the crosshairs and saying that is that action will help make you a security. That's when they had to pivot there. But that's the answer to the question: is the OMI burning from non-circulating supply has no impact on the price. Therefore, it doesn't meet that Howey prong of based on the efforts of others. Right now, here's the difference, right? And this is why token burns still can happen. If Ecomi makes it so that it's through our decision that we know when we are doing something, when we are buying this NFT with OMI, or that I'm selling my NFT and getting OMI, that a portion of that OMI I'm getting, and I know that I'm agreeing that it goes straight to the burn wallet, that not VeVe, like VeVe is not making that decision, or Ecomi's not making that decision, but two users are as individuals. then that's not the same as based on the efforts of others. It's me as an individual who's not tied to the company making that decision. So I could buy all the OMI I want and just send it to the burn hall. In fact, I did that, right? Shout out to the Golden Dragon Club, right? Where I did that for some entries and to support those guys. Burn some VeVe, OMI, like on the live stream. It was funny because like I had the wrong burn address, and shout out to the VeVe fam, NFT hero who gave me the real address, and then I was like, that's not the real address. So anyways, yeah, but I look back to like modern investors' take on VeVe and OMI, because we had started talking about that. One of the things that I really enjoyed is he had gone on and a long time ago had bought VeVe stuff, and then he kind of checked out, right? He had no idea about the drama, any of these things that's going on that everyone kind of on a day-to-day basis is getting absorbed with. And he just came back into VeVe and is like, why is like ASM #1 this cheap? And he's like tripping out on this, right? And he's like, this is crazy. And he looked at it from multiple standpoints. Number one, it's just like someone who likes to read digital stuff. He's like, I like to take that and read that like on my phone or, you know, like my iPad, and to just own it. I would rather own it than just have like the digital version. Why wouldn't I? You know, and it was funny just to see him be like, these are incredible comics, you know? And yes, 50,000 sounds like a lot, but he's just like, in the whole grand scheme of like the population of the earth, if this becomes mainstream at some point, 50,000 is like nothing. And it was, so he's just like, and actually like after his video, the price of some of these actually like doubled, you know, as some of his followers, I think, did it. But it was cool to see someone who just checked out and wasn't a part of any of the drama that everyone's kind of like caught up in. And he just came back and was like, this is amazing. I love this stuff. And then I'm buying more of it, you know? And his whole like OMI to $1. I have definitely pivoted from some of my more bullish takes on like where I think OMI can go, because I thought that burns were going to happen a long time ago, that those were going to start a long time ago. And it's going to take some time. And I want to, look, I'm going to say this as it is. I think that everyone is thinking that OMI to NFT, like once that gets announced, that it's going to just be like bananas for the token. I think it might cause like a temporary pump. I believe that it more than likely will actually come back down, and maybe it'll be a higher low. But it's going to take some time, because again, the main thing, two things, like Big A already said, if VeVe implements it to where, you know, for the most part, like you're going for these drops, and anything you're landing, you're making money on, that will attract a ton of people. The referrals, I think that's a safer way to bring people in, and just getting more people involved in that, more users that will collect what they like, as opposed to just going, you know, for the return there. But where was I going with that? Hold on just a sec. Lost it, guys.
I hate it when that happens.
I know. I had a thought. It'll come back to me.
I want to address Leon's comment where it says, problem is if millions get into VeVe, by then Marvel will release version 2, 3, 4, etc. of these comics like they do in real life. So the newcomers will just buy the cheaper new versions to read. I mean, if they want to, they don't even need to buy them on the they can buy them on the VeVe Comics website. Like, they don't need to buy the collectible.
They can just buy the digital, and there's no limit to the digital version.
Yeah, and outside of that, okay, well that's why Pokemon kind of, I haven't liked their newer stuff because they got rid of the first edition. But back in the day, in base set of Pokemon, you had a one print run of first editions, one print run of Shadowless, which is just the first edition artwork without the first edition, the number 1 on the card. And then they had an unlimited run of like nine print runs of the unlimited version. It didn't matter how many print runs of the unlimited version they made. I think they did like 8 or 9. So there was like 9 times the supplies of first edition. That did not affect the price of the first edition or the Shadowless. Why? It's because it's different. So likely, if Marvel were to release versions 2, 3, 4, etc., there would be an indicator stating which one it was, and then the people would know, oh, okay, this is not the first appearance of this comic on the blockchain that belongs to this. And it's so that people can go in and they can get it if they want. But again, that cheaper option will be there. But for the first appearance of AF-15 or the first appearance of Marvel Comics on like that will always stay that first appearance. So it's happened in Pokemon before. It didn't affect the price of the first appearances or of the first editions. It likely won't affect the price here. Maybe the second, third, and fourth print runs, they get diluted, but the people that really want that first appearance of that comic, they won't care about the 2, 3, and 4. They'll still get the first appearance comic.
Yeah, like that can't be ruled out, and I think that's important, right, for Leon to bring up. And we try to take all of this into consideration. But again, like the first appearances is a big deal. I remember where I was going with the OMI, the NFT thing, is I think that people think that this is like the end all be all, and it's like once that happens, then the token will go ballistic. And I'm like, I just don't think that's the case. I think it's going to have to hit the narrative, but I do think that it'll be a pump. But what will start happening is I do like. First of all, it'll be a kind of a completed promise that happened from back in the day of these token burns. So they'll be able to just put that to bed and be like, our token is deflationary now. So I think that is great. And then new people coming in, they'll just know that, hey, this token's deflationary, right? And I think that kind of happens. We get caught up in a lot of these promises that were made early on that haven't happened. But then, and it's a lot of drama, and people are just like, oh, like this is the worst, and this is a rug or whatever. And then it happens, and then it's like just never brought up again. New people coming in don't even know that was ever an issue. Like Cash Out. For the longest time, Cash Out, it was like, this is a rug and they're just stealing our money and it's never going to happen. And then all of a sudden there's Cash Out and then no one brings it up anymore, right? And so that is one of the reasons when I see people and they have all these constant concerns and they're like, oh, this isn't going to happen. I was like, I guess I've just been through this so long now. It has taken way longer. Do I like that it's taken longer? No. But am I patient? And do I believe that a lot of these things are going to be fulfilled in the best way that fits within this regulatory landscape? Like, yeah, I do. I believe that there's going to be token burns. I believe that we're going to get interoperability in some way, shape, or form. So I think that those things are happening, but definitely not in the timeline that I initially thought, right? So, yeah, let's see. Well, yeah, like what NFTs, I'll say this, because there's been this whole debate about these purists that are saying like VeVe NFTs aren't NFTs, or, like it's not on the blockchain. And I've gone down that rabbit hole, and like to a certain extent, sure, you can argue it's not minted on L1, right? But then you can also argue that it's not minted on chain. So then the only true NFTs are the ones that are minted on Bitcoin, right? The ordinals. Like, and I just don't buy that. I think that what people want is the ability to show proof of authenticity and ownership of a digital item. And how VeVe is doing it still gives you that. So that's my thing. And you say like it played us all, and I just disagree. And look, honestly, like they could at some point mint that on. So I just think the masses aren't going to care. I really don't think that because the people who care, the biggest purists, are saying your ETH NFTs aren't NFTs. So like, I don't know, right? You could go all the way down that path. And it's just like, for me, there's a lot of people who think ETH NFTs are NFTs. There's a lot of people who don't think that ETH NFTs are NFTs. ETH NFTs still do really, really well. VeVe collectibles are still selling for thousands to tens of thousands of dollars in some cases. So I'm not worried. I guess I'm just not worried about it. I think that people truly and the masses are going to be okay with it. And we're already seeing that a lot of people who do understand this space, like I look at Dr. Rolex, right? He's in a ton of different projects and he's still making some big purchases on this, and he understands that. So like that narrative, like I just don't bite into that argument anymore,
To address Leon's other comment saying you're missing my point. My point is like Pokemon, people will just buy the cheaper option. So people already do that for Pokemon already. But again, that doesn't affect like even within the first edition stuff. First edition PSA 10 is too expensive for a lot of people. So they buy the first edition PSA 9. And if that's too expensive, they buy the 8 or the 7. Like the people will go for what they can afford, and sometimes I literally had clients that I would say like, hey, this card is going to go up faster than what you can earn. Like, go in and get a second job, and they do, and then they've done that, and then they complete their collections like that. And then I guess one last thought on that, when you had said, isn't there a collector with 60 or 70% of the top graded Charizards? I mean, that has made him a millionaire. That's false. First edition PSA 10s go for a couple $100,000, at least on PSA. If you're CGC, it's going to be a bit less. I guess if we're going to wrap it up, we've been going for about hour 45 here.
Yeah, I got to pick up my daughter here in just a little bit.
Okay, so I guess closing thoughts on this is what do we go? We went over a lot of stuff. I went over a little bit on the stream last night, so I'll just reiterate that here. If you had to, in Rocky, in any of the Rocky movies, you get a couple minutes of him training, and like that's like some of the best parts of the movie. The music's there, and you know, the training montages are cool, and then the fight scenes are really cool. But if you had to really watch the life of a real boxer, and you had to watch them train for thousands or 10,000 hours, you know, for a title fight, and the only way to watch the title fight would be to watch those 10,000 hours of training, most people probably wouldn't do it, because that's insane. That's nuts. It's like Dragon Ball Z. Everyone loves watching the fights, and we get a little bit of the training, but you don't see them training like for hundreds and hundreds of hours each week. You don't see them training for like a dozen hours each day. And why does this matter? Why do I bring this up? A lot of people, everyone knows what to do in crypto or any type of investing. Well, you invest in a good company and you hold. And eventually, as long as you invest in things that are fraught with good ideas and good CEOs and they're disruptive and whatever, it'll go up. But most people don't do that. It's the same thing with diets. Everyone knows to eat lean meats and a lot of vegetables and drink water and cut out the crap, cut out the alcohol, but they don't do it. Are you going to be one of those people in investing? Are you going to, as soon as it gets hard, where your portfolio is down a little bit, are you going to lock in those losses and sell? Or are you going to say like, hey, I know this is hard, I know this sucks, but I know what I bought is really good and it'll work out eventually. And again, this is not financial advice. I'm not saying just to throw good money over bad into something that's clearly not doing well, but you just have to put that into your brain and realize that sometimes things suck, and it's like fertilizer. It might suck at the time, but it'll help you grow.
Yeah, look, I've loved this discussion. You know, and one last thing, Big A kind of brings up, and I'll address this and wrap it up. But he just says, will people that are mostly down big on OMI be willing to sell that at a huge loss to get a collectible that prices have been drifting lower? Big difference at higher OMI price in future, but not now. That's a great question. And look, like, I don't have the answer. I think that there will be some. I think that there will be some who are just like, they can write off that loss of OMI, but they want to get a Rizzo or something that they've been waiting on, and these prices are better. And like, they don't have the cash, but they have the OMI. That they'll be like, yeah, I want to do that. It'll be interesting to see what incentives there are for people to use OMI to purchase the collectible. One of the incentives is that people who have other crypto, they don't want to cash that out into fiat and then use a credit card and purchase gems to do that. But they would be willing to pay the fees to kind of, convert and bridge that over. It's just easier to do that and then purchase the OMI, convert it there and bring it on that way. So I do think that we will see people purchasing OMI for like just to use the OMI to NFT. I do think that there will be some people, but not all people, who are willing to sell their OMI or use that OMI and kind of cement that loss. It'll be interesting. That's a good question, So I think we'll see a little bit of that. But all in all, hey, look, I hope you guys realize that I really do try to address, and I like on this channel, like I do want to make sure that we are trying to take in everyone's opinions and discuss this, right? Because it's not for everyone. There's some people who are just like, I have no faith in OMI. If you don't have faith in OMI, I don't keep a token that I don't have faith in anymore. I'll just put it like that. You know what I mean? Like if people are not happy with OMI, they got to do what's best for them. I'm not telling people you need to do this, right? I'm telling people what I think and what I see, and I'm trying to bring on alternate points of view so that people can try to take in the whole picture and say, does this make sense for me, right? But as you can tell by the title of this, Omi is my homie. And Wes, I don't disagree that if Akomi could have followed the original white paper, the token would probably be a lot higher. Might also be a lawsuit, so then it might have dropped just like XRP did, right?
Yeah.
And that's the big risk there. But what I want to give a shout out. There's about 450 people watching the stream right now. Thanks to all of you guys for all of the support. I would love it if you could smash, push, crush, gently caress that like button, the follow button, and hit that all notifications button so we can continue to get this stream out to more people. So we can have even more commentary and questions and conversations about all of this. Appreciate you, fam. And we'll see you on the next stream. Peace out. Peace out, Dashi.
And I know you have to bounce, so we'll just wait for the live to.
Look at this. I hit end stream, but then